This kid is a stud. Is there anything Mike Trout can't do?
No, not on a baseball field.
Big fly for Mike Trout.
Are you kidding me?
You're making it look so easy. Send that kid to a higher league. Unbelievable.
Talented young man.
This kid is something to behold.
Mike Trout might be the best player in the game now, but he was never the top prospect in baseball. He was all the way down the list at number 2 before the 2011 season. But what about some other young players that are set to take the AL West by storm? Let's send it over to Scott Braun.
We're chatting with Manuel and J.J. Cooper of Baseball America, and we'll focus on the American League West. Now, a year ago, J.J., you told me that only one player potentially in the Angels system would fit in the top 10 in the Astros system. Is that still the case? Is there misbalance in this division?
There's misbalance, but it has gotten a little bit more even. The Angels actually have made a couple of trades recently to bring in guys that are potentially top 100 guys. They didn't have that last year.
Yeah, and the Astros have graduated players. They've traded players. They're clearly going more to win in 2015, and they also failed to sign Brady Aiken. So their farm system, when you don't sign the #1 overall pick, your farm system takes a little bit of a hit.
Let's point out some other teams in the division with prospects to watch. We'll start with hitters. Give me one and the team that he's on.
Well, Jorge Alfaro, the catcher for the Texas Rangers, Scott. This guy's all tooled up, and right now he's got no place to go because he hasn't defended enough. But you can see in the video, he's got strength in his hands and forearms. He can drive the ball to all parts of the ballpark. He runs exceptionally for a catcher. He runs well enough to move to the outfield if he can't handle the defense. But, J.J., I know you're concerned and scouts are concerned. He just doesn't. Don't even talk about pitch framing. He doesn't handle and receive. He's 20 pass balls a year. And for all the cannon throwing arm, he doesn't throw out a high percentage of base stealers.
I feel like I got to see the Jorge Alfaro experience in a nutshell one game last year. He botches a ball like he should have caught. It goes to the backstop. He springs up, flies back there, scoops up the ball, skating on his skates, fires the ball, throws the guy out at first on a strikeout. And you go, that's freak athlete. No one can do that. But at the same time, he shouldn't have had to do it because he should have just caught the ball in the mid.
The tools are sick. The skills still have a way to catch up, even though he's in Double-A.
A bit raw defensively. What about a hitter for you, J.J.?
Yeah, we're going to stay with the Rangers. Joey Gallo. When you talk about power, there is no better power than Joey Gallo out there. He should have been in the. It would have been great to have him in the home run derby last year at the All-Star game because the best power display we saw in Minneapolis that week was what he put on in BP before the Futures game. Freak power. He can hit it out to all fields. He can hit it out when he doesn't really get the ball. Now he just has to learn that, you know what, you get one run if you clear the fence by 50 feet or by 10. Tone down the swing a little bit. If he does that, cuts the strikeouts down, he's going to be a massive player.
It worked out well for him. 42 home runs, as we just saw in the minors last year, and that was second in all of the minor leagues to Chris Bryant, a pretty good name as well. So 2 Rangers bats that you guys pick out. Let's go to the pitching side of things and maybe a different team, John?
Yeah, Andrew Haney is one of those guys who the Angels acquired to make their farm system better. And the bottom line for me is he's just so different from Alfaro and from Gallo. He's polished. He doesn't have loud tools. He's not lighting up radar guns. He throws hard enough, but he's not one of these mid to upper 90s guys we see so often in the big leagues now. The slider's good, the changeup's good, the delivery's consistent. He throws a lot of strikes. Last year, he really struggled when he first got to the big leagues with the Marlins. I think they soured on him. He showed in September that the stuff is still crisp. He was powering through his longest season in the minor leagues. I think this guy's going to be very good. Middle of the rotation starter for the Angels sooner than later.
And involved in a Howie Kendrick trade, Jerry Dipoto, GM of the Angels, said this was just too good of an opportunity to get 6 years of him.
Yeah, I think he can be in their rotation in April. And it's going to be up to him in spring training to earn that spot. But for me, he's better than Tyler Skaggs. He's better than a lot of their other young pitchers. And then coming down the line, they have a guy like Sean Newcomb. I like the way that Jerry Dipoto has rebuilt their farm system while staying competitive in the major leagues.
Angels won that division last year, and yet they're still getting younger. Let's talk about pitching prospects for you in the AL West, J.J.
We talked about the Astros. Mark Appel, the #1 pick a couple of years ago in the draft. Appel had a very fascinating season. First half of it, you really, if you were Mark Appel, you really hope that that could be erased from your record. He was the worst pitcher in the California League over the first half of the season. They got him out of the Cal League because they decided that Lancaster was kind of really messing with his head. He goes to Houston, gets a little tune-up with Astros pitching coach Brent Strom, which did wonders for him. Also raised a little bit of a ruckus with the major leaguers for the Astros. Goes to Double-A and really showed more of what we hope to see from Mark Appel. he does have plus stuff. It's really about, can he locate, and can that slider, can he throw up for strikes enough to let people, you know, at the upper levels, it still be a wipeout pitch.
He is a #1 pick, #1 overall in 2013, talking about Mark Appel of the Houston Astros. Who will be #1 on the Baseball America Top 50 Prospects Countdown? You'll find that out Thursday, February 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern on MLB Network. Guys, back to you.
Scott, thanks so much. Back here in Studio 3, Paul Severino, Tom Verducci, and Randy Wynn. Joey Gallo put on a show at the Futures game, but all summer long.
It is freakish power, and he does a couple of things that, I don't want to say are freakish, but are special that help define his power. Everybody keeps their head down. We all know that. But he has something a little bit different. After he makes contact, the head actually continues to go down a little farther. And let me compare him first to Adam Dunn. Watch where his hands are. Starts out with the bat kind of low. You don't necessarily see that in a power hitter, but look when he gets into that power position. The other thing I noticed, the finish. Look at the high hands, the long extension. That creates the leverage. And here's what I'm talking about with his head, Paul. Look at, you can't even see his face. He buries it down after contact. Who does that remind me of? Mike Piazza. Watch the helmet, the brim of the helmet actually go down after contact. Piazza used to hit balls. He didn't even know where the ball went because his head was so far down. Keep your head down. Some guys take it to the extreme. Joey Gallo does.
That's right. I think the Rangers would sign up for 40 every year like Adam Dunn. What about you?
Yeah, Alex Jackson. This is a first-round pick for the Seattle Mariners. Big kid, huge power potential. The scouts love his power and average potential. They love his bat. He's a hitter, plays the outfield, but what everybody loves is this swing. And you're going to see him here drive the ball. He's able to hit the ball back up the middle for average, turn on it when he needs to. And there's a couple guys that he reminds me of. One is Juan Gonzalez, the leg kick. The slow, kind of languid, fluid leg kick of Juan Gonzalez, but also a Paul Konerko. I think he's a little bit more like Konerko with his finish and follow through. You see Paulie there. Now here we got a side-by-side. The Juan Gonzalez leg kick with the Paul Konerko two-hand finish. Not a bad guy to be like. Paulie was just a threat in the middle of the lineup, and he had a great idea about the strike zone, and that enabled him not only hit for power, but also hit for average.